So hello and welcome to this week's Thermomixing with Donna. Actually mixing with Donna because I've dropped the thermo bit. So with our class this week, we are going to be doing 3 recipes in our TM6 and TM7. I haven't actually decided which way around I'll do them, but I think I'm going to start off with the 7, and we're going to do a really quick and easy recipe in here, which is I would call it a fruit strap. I think in here it's called a leather strap. In fact, it's called a strawberry leather. I would never have found it under that title. But it's basically the fruit wraps. You know, the fruit wraps that the kids have, they have, I want to say baking paper, but that greaseproof paper that it comes in, and they unravel them. So this is literally, it's 2 ingredients, just sugar, which is also not that much, even though you would think it is, and strawberries. Now I'm using frozen strawberries, so I'm really hoping this is going to work because you're supposed to use fresh. So I might have to give it a little bit longer. For this recipe, it is 2 ingredients. I've already planned them in. You could search for them on your machine. I'm having some internet issues today, so I'm not going to do that, but I have already got them in. So I'm going to select the recipe. It's called strawberry leather, and I'm going to hit start. Now, as you can see, I am having internet issues, and this is offline at the moment, this one, but I can still use the recipe, no problem. All I've done is I've made sure my phone was connected briefly. It downloaded the recipes after I put them in for my week. So if you were going camping with your Thermomix, for instance, and you may not have an internet connection while you're off-grid, you can download them, and then you've got them in the machine ready to go. So it says 700 grams of strawberries. So I'm just going to pop in all these strawberries. Yeah, and it's oh, there you go. It's going to tick it off. Is it going to tick it off? Oh, I get really excited when it ticks it off. So it's really cool. So what I'm going to do now, we'll go next. Oh, it's a bit jittery because I'm touching the wires down here. So if you've got a Thermomix on your bench, just another tip for you. If you've got your Thermomix on a bench and it's touching the wall and you move it around, your scales will drift up and down quite considerably. So just bear that in mind. So now we're going to chop that. So 5-second speed forward. Now, these are frozen, so I might have to do this twice, but we'll see how we go. Now, if you have your cap on your TM7 and it keeps popping off, some people have a problem with it popping off. Just pop it on and twist it, and it should grip. And as you can see, it's a bit firmer now. I'm going to repeat that step just because I know it's quite frozen. Let's have a little look at what they look like. All right, so as I said, it is quite frozen. So we are going to cook it, so it won't matter too much, but it's quite frozen still. It's a bit more like it's going towards ice cream. All right, so we'll go next, and then we're going to add in our caster sugar. So 70 grams of caster sugar. Now I've already pre-weighed it, so I'm just going to pop that in there. I'm going to go next, and now I'm going to cook that for 8 minutes. Now it might need a bit longer than 8 minutes because of the fact that it's frozen. So I'm just going to press play, and we'll let that do its thing, and we'll see how we go. If I have to do it a little bit longer, perfectly fine. Less time, less for me to do. It's the machine's doing it all. Then we're going to come to our TM6. Now, I'm going to do a dip in here, which is one of my favorites. And I'm hoping that I haven't chosen the TM7 version because that's not going to work, is it? That will be one of my planning moments where I didn't plan it very well. And this is going to be one of my, I thought it was good. One of my moments where I thought it wasn't going to work then. All right, so we've got beetroot hummus. All right, so we're going to go start cooking. All right, so we're going to weigh in 75 grams of walnuts. It says halves or pieces, just not the big outer shell ones. I'm going to go next. And 20 grams of sesame seeds. Now, what I like about this recipe, well, not something I like, what I find intriguing is that there is no chickpeas in this recipe, yet it's hummus. How do you do that? It's because it's got sesame seeds in it. So we're going to place the simmering basket. It says place the simmering basket on the top, I'm going to go rogue and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go next and I'm just going to cook it. So it's going to go for 10 minutes. No, I'm not going to do that. See what I mean by when things don't go to plan? I've just realized my rookie mistake because my timings are not going to work with that recipe. So just bear with me 1 second. I am going to go back to my other recipe. Just want to see if the recipe that the main recipe that I wanted to do tonight, which is a brand new recipe to cookie do, I just want to make sure you can do it in a TM6. Because if you can't, I don't see why you couldn't, but just in case, let's have a see. Yes, you can. Right. So I'm just going to take that out. This is the benefits of having 2 bowls. I'll take that out and I'm going to put a fresh bowl in. And we'll leave that to one side, ready for when I do that recipe next. Which I'm going to have to tip into a TM7 bowl, I think. This is definitely not going to go to plan tonight, but that's all right. We can cook, can't we? So start cooking. Yes. All right. So this one is, this is going to be biscuits, shortbread biscuits, but savoury, not sweet. So we're going to put in 120 grams of hard cheese. Now it is actually called, it's called Use It Up Cheese and Sesame Shortbread. So you can use what you've got left in the fridge. So I've got a bit of, that's butter. Don't put that in, Donna. Wrong one. I blame it on my jet lag. I'm still jet lagged from being away. We'll get there. Now then. All right. So 120 grams of hard cheese. Pop that in. Go next. We're going to give that a chop. Pop the lid on. Next. And we're going to do 3 seconds on speed 7. All right. Then we'll have a little look and see what that looks like. It amazes me, always amazes me how well this goes. Now, I think that needs a little bit more of a chop. So because we had some really hard Parmesan in there, I'm just going to give it, I'm going to repeat it. Now, if you need to repeat a step, you just go back on your, if you're on your TM6, you can just go back to that screen and then just turn it again to the screen. Now, if you were doing that on your TM7, you would just pull the screen back down to the previous step, hit the 3 little dots, and that will say set as current step, and then you can go back to that step. Just a little bit different from machine to machine. So we're now adding in, so I'll show you what that looks like. That's a bit better, a lot finer now in the bottom. Now we're going to add in a butter, 120 grams of unsalted butter, nicely chilled. We've got that. And we hit next. You really can't go wrong with these recipes. 180 grams of plain flour. That was a little bit far out of my reach. So 180 grams of flour. And hit next. 2 pinches of paprika. Oh, I didn't get that out. There you go. I was not very good on that one. Let me get my paprika out. It wants 2 pinches. 1, 2. I like a good pinch. These bowls are really handy as well. These are IKEA, and I just pop the lids on with the ground paprika in. I have a whole drawer full of them, and they're really handy for when you're doing your herbs and spices. 3 egg yolks. Kind of need a spatula as well. It's me being unorganized tonight. It is my first class back though. After a very long holiday, and finding things in my kitchen again has been fun. All right, so we're going to pop our 3 eggs in. I've also got a different, I'm tweaking this recipe a bit as well because at the end, it uses sesame seeds, black and white sesame seeds. I'm actually using a new seasoning that I've got. And I'll tell you about that in a second. So it says a pinch of ground black pepper. So if you've seen me use this before, if you've been in my classes, I have my salt and pepper and 2 sprigs of fresh thyme. The salt and pepper is, you can get these. They're not available in the mix shop anymore, but I can give you a link to them. So if you pop in the chat, if you'd like a link, I'll be happy to send that to you. It's They really are handy for the kitchen. Okay, 2 sprigs of fresh. Now, I don't have fresh, so I'm winging it. I'm just going to put in a couple of sprigs, sort of just like that. All right, so I've got that in. And then next, 2 pinches of sea salt. So I'll go back to my, don't know why I didn't say that before. It would have been much easier. There we go, 2 pinches of that. Next. And now we're inserting the measuring cup in the mixing bowl lid. We're going next, and we're going to do 10 seconds on speed 6. Just 10 seconds. Right. Now then. Now it says transfer to a lightly floured silicone baking mat, which again, rookie me hasn't done. This is going to be one of those classes that when I put it on YouTube, I'll be laughing at myself. It says sprinkle with, so what it wants me to do, I'll show you what we've got. So we've got breadcrumbs here, and we're just going to roll it up. So bear with me 2 seconds. All right, I'm coming back. Okay, so silicone mat. Now these are available in the mix shop. These are brilliant for when you're proving your bread and so on. So, let me go back a step, and I want to read exactly because I've not made this recipe before. Transfer to a lightly floured, yes, okay. Transfer to a lightly floured silicone baking mat or work surface and form into a smooth ball. So pop your bowl upside down. Now this is very crumbly, so we're just going to give it a bit of a wiggle and a bit of a bang. Got a little bit in there. Where's my spatula? A little bit of egg yolk still around the edges and a bit of butter, so we'll get that out as well. All right. Now then. So then what you're going to do is just, shortbread is always, I've only made shortbread a few times, but basically you just get it all together into a bowl. Now I'm going to roll it into, kind of into a log because, and it will pick all the extra bits up at this point in time as well. So we're just going to get it into a log, shoving it together so that it goes nicely compacted. You don't want it too warm either because it's going to go in, it is going to go in the fridge or the freezer to harden. So what we're going to do now is we have our seeds. So what I discovered in England lately was this, it's called More Than a Bagel seasoning. And it was amazing on some of the things my daughter-in-law was making. So I'm just going to pop this on here, just 2 tablespoons, and then I'm just going to roll this in it so that it's well coated. And this is going to be the flavouring for the outside of these shortbread biscuits, basically. So, all right, so I've got that in there. So what I'm going to do is, while we've got all those bits in there, I might as well keep them all in it. And I'm just going to wrap it up like a parcel. Like so. Wrap it over again. And then I'm going to pop that. I'm pretty sure it says next. It says sprinkle with the and coat it, wrap and place in the freezer for 30 minutes. So you're probably not going to see this last bit, but what I will do is I will pop it onto, when I do the next bit of it, I will actually do a separate video for that when you see that later. So we're just going to go. So it's preheat oven to 200 degrees. You're going to line 2 baking trays with baking paper. It says slice the log into 5mm rounds and place 3 centimeters apart on the prepared trays and bake for 15 to 25 minutes. and then cool before serving. So how easy would that, how easy is that? That's like super simple to do. The Thermomix does it all for you. So nice and easy. And it'll even wash itself once I finish the class. All right, so this one's now ready to carry on. So let's see where we're up to. So it says blend for 30 seconds on speed 9. Probably should have done that while I was talking, but that's all right. All right. So that's it's whipped it basically. So let's have a look at this. All right. There we go. So now this is our strawberry mixture that is ready for going on our trays. So it will be very liquefied. So I'm going to bring a tray over and all right. And so we're just going to it doesn't want to be too thick. And I will spread it out a little bit with a spatula as well. It is supposed to go on 2 trays, so it's not going to all fit on this one. That's probably enough for that tray, I think. Oh, it smells amazing. And so I'm just going to spread it because you want it to be quite thin. It will sort of, what do they call it? Level out. You just get it to move it over a little bit. All right. And then all we do with this is this now gets baked. So if I go next in here, it says pour onto silicone mat, dividing the mixture equally between the 2 trays, which I'm not sure I've done that, but these are big trays. And into a rectangular shape with a spatula, approximately 25 centimeters by 35, which I think I'm pretty spot on there actually. It's probably a little bit bigger, but that'll be all right. And then we're going to go next, and then it says dry in the oven for 7 hours, so overnight, at 60 degrees until dry to touch. Swap in positions of the trays halfway through. I'm not doing that in the middle of the night. And turn off the oven and then leave them to cool. And then once cool, peel them away from the silicone and wrap them in some greaseproof paper. So, and then you can slice them up and they'll be done. So again, how easy is that? Nice and easy. So this is number 2. So that's number 2 done. I'm just going to do a taste test. And I've just blobbed everywhere. Oh my goodness me. That should have been the thing for the holiday, you know. It didn't matter where I went, I blobbed something right down in front of me. All right, so that's, I'm going to leave that to the side because I've got to do the other one, put the other one in the oven. We'll go next on this one, finish that one. And then the one we're going to do next is the dip. So this next one it's got a 10-minute cook time, which is where I got mistake. I made the mistake. I should have done it first because that was supposed to cook in one of them while the other one was going, but that's all right. So we can go back to our recipe. Now, if we go back to recently cooked in your TM6, this is a good one to note if you've got a TM6, or if you had a TM7, you can go back to where you were in a recipe, which is really quite handy. So you see I've got a pause, you probably can't see actually from there, but I've got a pause button rather than a play button. So if I go back to this recipe, it says, would you like to resume it or restart? So I'm going to resume. And so now it knows it needs to cook for 10 minutes on speed 1. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to dry roast those seeds and nuts for 10 minutes. Now, I'm just tempted to, because we've got 10 minutes, rather than, I could just talk to you for 10 minutes, but I don't want to bore you crazy. So I am going to do that other recipe that I said I would do, that I was thinking of doing, but I didn't have quite enough ingredients. I'm going to show you how to wing it. All right, so bear with me 2 seconds while I get my other bowl out. Having 2 bowls makes life so much easier because you can just grab out your second bowl and get started with something else. and I will wash them all up afterwards. And well, they do technically wash themselves to start with, and then I'll just finish them off. So we'll finish this recipe off. So that's done. And then I'm going to go into home, and I'm going to go into my week, and I should have in here, scroll down, garlic and herb. And we'll start this one. Now, I know I haven't got the exact ingredients, but as I said, I will wing it. So it wants a clove of garlic. So let's grab a clove of garlic. Now, something I've learned over the last number of years is that if I keep my garlic in a ramekin like this, they don't dry out, they don't grow. They just, I don't know whether it's something to do with being in a ceramic pot, but they just keep for months sometimes. And all I do is give them a twist like that, and they just peel. Nice and easy. How easy was that? Throw it in. All right, so that's a garlic. Oh, and do you know what I did in a class yesterday? Is I peeled the garlic, I put the peelings in the Thermomix and put the garlic in the bin. Jet lag. Funny, 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 funny. All right, so now we want some parsley. Now I do have parsley growing in the garden, but I am not running outside right now to get some parsley. So I'm going to use some dried parsley. And again, I'm just going to wing it with, I'm not trying not to put it in the wrong one. I just wing it with a bit of a sprinkle of parsley. I don't actually like too much fresh parsley in this recipe. It makes it a bit too, the parsley, what do you call it, overtakes the other flavors. So we'll tick that off. And then I want 2 spring onions. Now, those I definitely do have. So let me grab my spring onions out. Right. Get a tray so I can do some slicing. And I'm going to need a knife. All right. Now, when I use my spring onion, I use, oh, where's my knife though? When I do spring onion, it's not just about getting the white bit at the bottom. I actually use a lot of the green as well. So it just says spring onions or shallots trimmed and cut into pieces. So I'm just going to cut them into, and I'm putting the green in as well. That's probably enough. And so they can all go in, the dark green bits on the light green bits on the white bits. All right, pop that in. Next, and then we're going to chop that on 3 seconds on speed 7. I'll press play. All right, next. And I do not know what I've done with my my cream cheese. I've had it out and I put it somewhere. I just don't know where I've put it. Goodness me, my jet lag is definitely kicking in. Look at that. It's right in front of my eyes. I can't see it. All right, so now we're going to pop in our cream cheese. Now I know that I have got nowhere near enough, but we're going to make it work. So I'm just going to stick this in. I might actually steal some back from my other recipe. The reason why I don't have enough is that I decided to do this hummus recipe at the last minute and forgot that I needed cream cheese. So I prepped that one first and then realized that I needed the cream cheese in this recipe. That's all right. So that's the herbs and onion that we've just chopped, so you can see it all around the edge. And then I'm going to pop this in. Whoops. And we're going to that in there. Okay. So we had Yeah, nowhere near enough. And I'm not going to put in the yogurt because you normally put in 2 tablespoons of yogurt to make it a bit thinner, but I'm not going to bother because there's not as many ingredients in here. So I'm just going to pop the lid on. It is really versatile, this recipe, and it does work. So I've many a time I've done it with not enough of everything, and it's been fine. So also another reason why I didn't quite put in as much of the parsley and the onion. I don't mind so much, but the parsley it just overpowers. It overpowers it if you put too much in. Now then, all right. So we got our dip. So now we have. I'm just going to scrape down the sides. Now, when you're going around in your TM7, always go clockwise, not anti-clockwise. Otherwise, you will basically have lots of chunks taken out of your spatula. So this is going to be a very green dip, but it will be fine. So there we have our lovely dip. So we give it a taste. Will go very nicely with those crackers that we're going to make. Really good. That is really good, actually. So I'll pop that into my, I'll just leave it on there for now. So that's gonna, I'll scrape that out and pop that into a little container that I use for the fridge. And basically it says it's ready. So we've got 2 minutes left on this one before we move on. And I'm just going to get a container out for my dip. Again, IKEA's my friend. Love IKEA. So IKEA's little squares I find are perfect with the little clip-on lids. So I'll grab this out and give it a scrape round. Now I might need more than one actually. But dips are so, like, if you want to save money with your Thermomix, dips are the way to go. Because dips cost a fortune sometimes from the shops. Now I want to teach you another tip as well. So as you can see, we've still got quite a bit around the blade in the bottom. So I'd like to get that off. So we'll pop the lid on, pop it back, pop the lid on, and then we're going to go back to what we call the function screen. So where there's a little cross on the side, it's on the TM7. A bit different on this. On the TM6, you would swipe across, or Tinder as I call, swipe left, swipe right. Never been on Tinder, but that's the only reference I know. And then on here, we're going to go to turbo. So you've got turbo in this one as well, again on the Tinder screen. And we're just going to press play, and it's just going to do one fast, very fast blitz. And what that does is it throws anything off the blade that's still sitting there. So if you've made bread, for instance, you've made dough and you've got your bread dough out, but you've got quite a bit of sticky dough in the bottom, do a turbo. It will throw it all to the edge of the bowl. You can carefully then grab a knob of your dough and just carefully go up and down the sides and collect all those extras, and you'll not have any waste, because I hate the food waste. So now you can see it's off the blade, it's all around the edge, and then we'll go around with the spatula going clockwise, of course, and we have got all that I've rescued out of there now because of that turbo. So turbo is amazing, and it's just filled one tub. So that tub now can go in the fridge, ready for when I have my crackers tomorrow, and I'll be able to have that with it. So how are we doing with our one over here? 16 seconds. So I'm going to pop some water in here, ready to do a pre-clean, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as well. So when you're pre-cleaning your Thermomix, you've got 5 different pre-clean functions. You have from your very quick, which is a less than 2-minute clean, to a browning mode, which is more of a 12 to 15-minute clean, which is when you want to get that burnt on stuff out of the bottom. Now, I'm going to pop in a little bit of detergent. Literally, you can see that, one little drop. That's all it was, one little drop. And then we're going to pop a lid on. I'm not going to put it on, because if I put it on, it probably will, it'll annoy me while I'm talking, but it'll, I've got stuff all on my fingers, but I will set it going. So you would go on pre-clean. As you can see on here, you've got 5 modes. quick universal dough, browning and fat or caramel, and all 5 of them do different things. You have got a top tips button in the top corner as well that gives you that top tip. All right, so I'm going to go next. So, whoops, sorry, I've got to blend it now. Let me go back again. So 12 seconds on speed 10. So all the way around to the top. And that's going to give that a quick blend. Now, while it's doing that, I'm just going to spread the rest of this. Need that. Ooh, there we go. It's just quickly finished. As soon as we've got a little bit of time, I'm just getting rid of. As I said, it's a bit of a rogue class tonight. It's normally a bit more organised than this, but that's all right. Wing it, I always say. If you can't, just make it work. So scrape down the sides. Now, show you what this looks like. So now we're basically making, it's almost like breadcrumbs, and it's very hot because, of course, it's been doing the sauteing, and so I'm just gonna have a good silicone spatula, and I can't find one, so I'm using wood. All right, so we scrape that down the sides. Next, insert the measuring cup. Wants to mix it again, I think. So we're just going to pop that on again. Next, yeah, and we're going to do another 8 seconds on speed 8. Meanwhile, I'm going to get the rest of this out before it sets. So that's getting, there we go. So we've got all that out now. So that's all the strawberry out, ready for doing that. So having 2 bowls, as you can see, is a very, very useful. Just giving it a bit across. I'll tidy that up afterwards before I put it in the oven. It will settle as it sits. Right. And then we're going to go next. So we are a little bit over time, and I like to try and keep it to half an hour, but we have ad-libbed a little bit tonight, and we're doing 4 recipes as well. So it wants to do it again. So we're going to do it again. Speed 8. Oh, except for I didn't scrape it down. So because I didn't scrape it down, there's nothing for it to go around. So what we're doing is we're kind of getting it down to almost like a paste. So if you've ever made, or maybe never made, peanut butter or nut butters, anything like that, when you make those in your Thermomix, you just keep blending it and keep blending it, pushing it down and blending it, and it will just make, I mean, peanut butter is literally peanuts, roasted salted peanuts is all you need to make peanut butter. It is unbelievable. And in less than 10 minutes, you'll have a full jar of peanut butter. So I never buy it anymore because it's just so good when you make it yourself. Just don't make it with plain peanuts. They're not as nice. All right. So we've got, it's getting towards a paste now. It's getting a bit thicker on the side. It's not really a paste as such yet, but it'll be all right. It's a dip at the end of the day, so it doesn't need to be super smooth. So now we're adding in our beetroot. So we've got our cooked, chopped beetroot. I'm cheating. It's out of a tin. You are welcome to cheat. I don't mind a bit of cheating now and again. Then we've got 85 grams of our cream cheese, which is the cream cheese that I needed for the other recipe. And then we're going to go with a garlic clove, which we've done. And we've got, 35 grams of stale bread, sourdough from earlier, and some ground cumin, an 1/8 of a teaspoon. And 15 grams of lemon juice. Now, would you believe lemons? So that was the juice from 1 lemon. And usually I get about this much, like literally half of that normally from 1 lemon. So to get all that was amazing. So 15 grams is not a lot. And you don't want to put too much in because You don't want it overpowering it either. And then that'll stay in the fridge till next time I need some lemons. We've got our salt next. So it says 1/4 teaspoon, so just a good pinch of salt and 2 pinches of pepper. 1, 2. And then we're going to mix it. Next. So we're going around to speed 7 for 15 seconds, and then I think we will have our hummus. Down through. All right, so we're going to scrape down the side. I really need to get a proper spatula. Oh. Now, if you're a lefty and you find the other spatulas too hard, this is really handy. These are the thin ones. These are in the mix shop. If you do order anything from the mix shop, please remember to put your consultant's name in before you check out. Their family do appreciate it. It's not a huge amount of commission, but every dollar counts these days. And it also is good for them to know what you've ordered, because they can help you out with a recipe that maybe, you know, links into it. So for instance, if you order a bread tin, they could send you a nice bread recipe that they recommend, etc., etc. So we have our beetroot hummus. So I'm going to see what it says to do next in case we're, so it says, I think it's going to blend it again. Next, yeah, 15 seconds on speed 7 or speed 8. Nearly done. 1 second. Next. Check and adjust seasoning. That means give it a taste. So we have a look. Yeah, that's nice. It's not as beetrooty as it usually is, to be honest. It's normally a lot redder than that. It's a bit quite pink today. When I've made it before, I'm wondering if it's because when we made the first bit, it didn't quite go down to a paste. Maybe, don't know, but tastes all right. Transfer to a bowl. So, and it makes a huge amount. So when you look at what's in this bowl, there's about at least 4, what I would say the equivalent of 4 lots. So those little square dishes I use, I'll probably get at least 3, if not 4 of those dishes, which is the equivalent of what you would get from the supermarket. So if you're paying $4.50, say, or $4, and sometimes they're more, for 1 tub, there's like at least $12 to $15 worth, if not more, of that in there, maybe up towards $20 worth. And the ingredients certainly didn't cost anywhere near that. So cost effective, but also you know what's in it, nice and healthy. So I'm going to pop that in some jars. So basically now what have we got? So I've got I've made the roll of biscuits. They're in the freezer. I will slice them up in another 15 minutes or so and pop them in the oven and cook them. And then I'll post a picture on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube so you can see what they look like as well. So everything that we've made tonight, when they're all finished, I'll put them, the pictures onto all the different various places, and then you can see them. Ordinarily, I do like to show you at the end, but because all of these recipes, well, besides the 2 dips, the other 2 recipes needed to actually be cooked, so just take a little bit long. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to hit subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and hit the little bell and it will notify you next time I upload a video. If you are in the market for a Thermomix, please do reach out. I would love to help you. At the moment, we have an amazing offer on, and I don't want anybody paying full price for a Thermomix, and I have lots of ways of doing that. So if you want to reach out, I would love to help you get one a little bit cheaper, even for free. There's a way to do that too. If you've got an older Thermomix and you'd like to upgrade, at the moment for the whole duration of June in Australia, we have an upgrade offer, so you can get money off your TM31. You can get money off your 5, you can get money, so you can trade in your 31, trade in your 5, or trade in your 6, and get yourself a brand new TM7 like this. This 7 is amazing. It's been absolutely unbelievably amazing, actually, since I got it a year ago. I use this most of the time, if not this one. But yeah, so that's on at the moment. So please reach out. You can get me on WhatsApp. You can get me on text, on the same number, 0459 209 207. And I look forward to seeing you next time I'm live. All right, take care. Bye-bye for now.